All right, joining us today on Pirate Radio Live, former ECU great Aundrae Allison, joining us every Monday to talk football. Aundrae, welcome back. How you doing, man?
I'm doing great. Great Monday. Great start to the day, and just looking forward to get some ECU conversation going on.
We got a little bit of wait. Next Thursday, the Pirates kick it off with NC State, but we do have week 0 coming up in college football, so there will be a few games on, including Kansas State, Iowa State, noon on Saturday. So got some real college football to watch along with NFL preseason. Aundrae, we're coming off ECU Media Day, which is always a fun day, and this past Saturday felt like an old school media day because we had plenty of time to talk to coaches and players, and just wanted to ask you about your memories of talking to the media when you played at ECU. And Aundrae, it's not like it is now. Now schools more and more are kind of highlighting their athletes, giving them the microphone, putting the camera in their face more. So it was definitely different back when you played. We would just talk to you after practice every now and then, and that was it. But what was your relationship? What was your interest level in talking to the media back then?
I really enjoyed it. I mean, like you said, it wasn't an abundance of it, but
Yeah,
when the opportunity presented itself, I really enjoyed it. I appreciated it because of I always looked at people's jobs like the media jobs is just to get the story out there for the players or, to communicate with the fans as well, just to be that medium. And I just wish it possibly would have been more opportunities to talk to the media, but I didn't have a problem with it at all.
yeah, and different guys have different views on it. Like we talk to Justin Hardy every week now, and Justin still, would rather go out and catch 6 for 100 than talk to me about anything. But and it's not that he doesn't want to. It's just that that's just not something he really enjoys. But we appreciate talking to him. Whereas Rajay Harris, who we talked to the last couple of years, loves the mic. And my main thing, Aundrae, is like letting the people know that y'all are humans and not football playing robots. You know what I'm saying? I feel like when fans get to learn that Rajay has 2 kids, Rajay enjoys shooting basketball in his free time or reading to his kids, or like they're like, oh, okay, he's a real person. They get to know him like that rather than just a number with a helmet on running around on the field.
Yeah, totally. I agree. And I think that what it has done is allowed for more space for players in the media and these, college teams or whatever, product they are representing to have a voice and to be able to like look at it as a partnership
Yeah,
because it only helps and like make the East Carolina brand bigger whenever you can, talk to players who are active now or former players and you just normalize them and just dive into their lives because what you'll find is like the average person who is not a collegiate athlete, they share the same exact life problems and situations
sure.
as the players. So it's always good just to have that connection, player to fans and the media to the players as well. It's all a partnership at the end of the day.
Speaking of media and sports, Aundrae, y'all coaches love to say, "Ignore the noise, ignore what you hear outside of this locker room." And from what I gather with that, it's if they're saying positive things, ignore them. If somebody out there is saying, if Dave Dorn says, "I want to beat the bleep out of ECU," we're going to post that in the locker. We're going to make sure everybody knows about that. Is that kind of how it goes, Aundrae? That you kind of pick and choose what to ignore out there?
Yeah, you do. It just depends on who it is. Like I feel like if you're an athlete, you have to have a competitive edge at all times. So you're juggling, like you got to balance it. So for example, like ignore the noise would just be don't allow it to get in the way of the main thing, and that's like to be as present as possible while you're performing or while you're practicing or whatever. But at the end of the day, you still have to take in every single thing and use that as fuel to keep you driven. I always tell athletes like you gotta pretty much personalize everything, but just don't show that it's personal. But you do have to have that edge of like, okay, I heard what you said, or I remember what you said. You have to take those type of mental notes so that you can will yourself on those tough, challenging days, and so you can also like stay the course on your plan of action.
Andre, do you remember this at all? There's a reason I remember the name Daryl Hackney. He was the quarterback at
Mm.
what UAB, I want to say, but it
Yeah,
was the
I remember him.
so
Yeah.
the last week of the season, the Skip's first year, they needed to win to go to a bowl. You guys only had 4 wins, so you were just kind of playing for pride, no bowl. But he guaranteed a win over ECU, that they would go to a bowl. And I remember y'all won that game. But like, do you remember? Like, was that talked about at all? Do you know what I'm talking about at all?
Yeah, I do. And that's one of the things. It's like you don't give your opponents like bulletin board
Right.
material. I would say definitely not to do that. Um, I don't want to give my opposition like extra fuel to to go against me. But I do. I remember that very vividly.
Andre, who were the characters on your ECU teams? Who were because I remember some guys I enjoyed talking to, but how about in the locker room or hanging out? Who were the big personalities you remember from your ECU
Ooh.
days?
Eric Graham tackle.
He's still Big E's still a good guy to talk to.
Yeah, for sure. I would say like a silent funny would be like Steven Rogers.
Okay.
Um, I would say Quentin Cotton was really funny. He was really funny. Those guys, yeah, they stand out. They stand out a lot for
And
sure.
man, Quentin, hell of a player. It was brutal. 2008, I guess, when East Carolina got off to that 3-0 start, but in that third game he gets hurt and is out for the year. And ECU was top 15 at that point, Andre. And then after the Cotton injury went downhill, he was a great player.
No, absolutely, yeah. Football is like that though. Any given play, you got next man got to be ready.
Do you think about that, like as a player? Like I guess you can't really think that way, right? You have to give it 100. But are you? I guess that's why we see guys praying before the games, right? And like talking to their families, like, hey, this could be it. This could be the one. So
Yeah, I feel like it's in the back of every player's mind. But at the same time, it's kind of like you have to just accept what comes with it, and that makes it even more rewarding because you've accepted that it's a possibility you can get injured. If you can get through each game, each practice, each season without like a major injury, you kind of feel like you did your job as far as preparing to go to war, go to battle. But yeah, it's in the back of your mind, but it's not like something that you're afraid of. It's just being knowledgeable and being aware of like what you're into.
and kind of on that note, Andre, you said last week that you knew even when you were a football talent that was just part of you. You were good at playing football, but you're also a son, and you would be a husband. Like you're a normal guy like the rest of us. When you're playing football, it sounded like you were very forward thinking back then. Anyway, we talked about it last week with your shoes or different things you were doing, thinking about the pros and the next step. Were you thinking about that as a player, and can you have you thought about passing that along to guys now? Because it does kind of worry me when guys say NFL's the goal, and I say, all right, what's your major? Like, what's your backup plan? They're like, well, I really don't have one. It kind of makes me a little bit nervous. Like, I think it's important for these guys to at least think about what could be beyond football, and I feel like you kind of had that in mind, right?
I did, but I don't think it would be, in my opinion, I don't think it would be good to have a second option or a plan B
Okay.
if the league doesn't work. Just because it's in like an extreme mentality that you have to have. It's almost like there's no plan B, there's no second this or
Okay.
that, and you just have to trust your instincts if it doesn't work, right? So I feel like that's like where the strength comes in because you're going to class, so you're an academic, student, and then you're doing athletics on top of that. So you're developing all these tools that the average person is not getting. You're getting a crash course in two different worlds merged in one. You're going to be able to figure out something. Like it's really hard for me to see like a collegiate athlete, struggle with the, normal everyday side of life. If they think in their head and understand what they have been able to accomplish and develop. But I never would advocate for anyone to say, Okay, it's NFL, but if it don't work, I'm gonna do biology. It's like, no, you're because you're going against people who don't think like that.
Okay.
It's like
Yeah.
only this. So I feel like you almost have to be very extreme when it comes down to achieving a goal like of that magnitude, and just rely on like your ability to improvise on the go if it doesn't plan out.
That's a really good point. That's a different way of me looking at it, and that kind of reminds me of watching like the Jeter documentary or
Mhm.
watching the Bulls documentary. Like those guys were almost insane in their goal and their focus, and that's how you got to be, I guess. That's a pretty good way to look at it, Andre.
I mean, yeah, because think about this: if you have an out, right? If you have something that you can fall back on, you're not gonna be giving it your 100% all because it's
Yeah,
like, well, if it doesn't work, then I can do this. You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of like you want those guys on your roster who feel like this is it, And then another thing, like society does kind of like give athletes a bad type of way of seeing things whenever we tell them like, okay, you have to be safe to in case this doesn't work out. But we're not playing a safe sport. It's like there's no safety in football. It's
kind of
like
a
so
mixed message there. Yeah.
yeah, so it's like what are you playing safe? Like you're playing the most dangerous sport, so just balls to the wall, dude.
How do you feel about the way the game is now, Andre? You were the first 1,000 yard receiver at ECU. Might have been the first 2,000 if you play the
Mhm.
way football is being played now. But what do you think about the changes we've seen? Part of it is safety. Part of it is just coaches developing new ways to get receivers to football. So how do you feel about the way the sport is played overall, college
I
and pro?
absolutely love it. I love any time it's a throwing play. Like if I see back to back handoffs, I just cringe. Like, oh no, nah. But honestly, I love like the chunk yard plays. I love like using receivers to pretty much like do a run play. You could just toss it out there, get the yard, 2 or 3, keep the chains moving, keeping the defense, guessing and things of that nature. But the spread offense is definitely more watchable to me as opposed to just under the center, two back, handoff, lead. I've never been a fan of that. I'm a receiver, so obviously I'm gonna be biased. But I do love the way the game is played right now. I love the creativity in it. You're starting to see more, coaches trusting, doing plays that might have been drawn up in the ground.
Right.
Just let's go out there, let's try this, and then the going forward on fourth. Absolutely love that as well. Just because I've always wondered, why would you not go for it on 4th and 1? But a lot of that too was I didn't have my job on the line at the time.
Right. Yeah.
So then, seeing the business side of it, I did, I started to understand that more. But it does like keep the defense on his heels even more, knowing that you could possibly go for it on 4th and 1. So the game is where it should be, and the protection of all the players is right on spot. I know they're continuously, improving that, but I love how a receiver can go across the middle, and they don't have to, be worried about getting their knees blown out or getting hit, in a bad way to possibly, jeopardize their career.
Man, I look. I love Ron Rivera, the man. It seemed like he's one of the greatest guys ever. It seemed like all the players love him, but that dude loved to punt on 4th and 4 from the other team's 40, and it would piss me off every time. And he'd punt it into the end zone, touchback. I'm like, why do you keep doing it? I'm so glad that now Dan Quinn is the coach of Washington, and we went for it on 4th down more than anybody, just about other than the lines, but. Yeah, we're starting to see that more and more. If you cross the 50, you're probably going to go for it, and I
Yeah,
love that.
it makes sense. I mean, think about it. It's kind of like a one-sided view. You would think that the pressure's on the offense, but honestly, it's more on the defense in a sense, And then another thing it does is like it gives offensive minded coaches like more wiggle room to like bring out all the things that they probably been wanting to do, because you will find that the OCs, they have a package of really clever design plays that they can't bring out,
Yeah.
just to stay within the framework of the game plan. But now it gives you, you might just have a little trinket here on the side. I think Andy Reid them are like the best at that kind of stuff, having
Oh
those
yeah.
little, plays put out to the side, like a just in case catch you off guard type of play.
And you got to know, Andre, if a team stops Mahomes, Jaden Daniels, Jared Goff, and Amon-Ra, that you stop them 3 times, the defense is letting out a sigh of relief. Like, man, we got them. And then the
Oh,
offense goes back out there for 4th down. They're like, damn, here we go. You know, so you're right. The defense, when you got those elite offensive guys, the defense is on their heels on 4th down.
oh yeah, absolutely. And you got Jaden Daniels. You know, the good thing about those type of players nowadays, how they're like going into the NFL and they're already prepared. It's just like you're able to see so much football and sports. You know, you see it at a very early age that they're way mature beyond their years. Because the NIL, it helps you kind of like mature faster because you have more responsibility on your plate. So if you're up for that task and you got the right infrastructure, it can definitely work in your favor.
How much, Andre, were you into the other things you got to do as a football player? The film study, like weight room, were you all in on that, or coming into college, or did that take you a while to grasp all that stuff?
I was already, well equipped with that side of things. I would have done probably film study a little differently now as I look back on it. Um, but I was all in. I've always been all. I'm a very extreme personality type of person. So when it comes down to being in shape and things of that nature, knowing my assignments, knowing what I'm supposed to do, I'm definitely gonna always be on top of that.
Aundrae Allison joining us. Looking forward to previewing ECU NC State next week. We'll have fun with that because Andre, I'll go ahead and tell the story. So it was right before halftime when you scored and threw up the pack signs, I believe, right, Andre?
Yeah,
I,
it
I
was.
was and I was at the game and I did not see it because I was on the way to go get a beer at halftime. So shame on me.
Oh my god! But
Dude, hey,
what's funny?
Skip was so conservative, Andre. I figured he'd just take a knee or something. I didn't know he'd throw you a deep ball.
I didn't either. And I still don't even know how I came up with that ball. But it was fun because I got to go against one of my close friends during that game. Was His name was AJ Davis.
Okay.
He played cornerback. So we both played in the Shrine Bowl together.
Was
And
he the
then,
one that like did he commit to Carolina and then went to state?
I think so, like track, he was like really, really fast
I
cornerback.
remember that name. Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. And then because we used to visit NC State like during the week and stuff. We had friends that was playing like, both sides of the ball. We would go to their school and be in their dorms and stuff like that. So it was a really cool game.
Yeah, and I think that's why I left too because I was with some state buddies and they were already mad about what was happening in the game. So I went to the. I heard a big cheer from Pirate fans as I was leaving, and then later saw the highlights and Andre throwing up the pack was that'll be legendary forever. We'll preview that one and talk some more football next week with you, Andre. Once again, tell folks where you are right now and what you're doing these days.
Yeah, I'm in the Cornelius, North Carolina area, close to Lake Norman. They also call it like the Northern Charlotte area. And I own and operate a wellness and recovery studio that specializes in wellness modalities like infrared sauna, um, cold plunges, red light therapy, fat freezing. And then we have a whole medical side of things to where we're able to prescribe pretty much any type of, medical type of treatments. And then you can also get like telehealth visits with our staff as well. And we franchise this location. My wife and I started 4 years ago, and now it's a franchise. We became a nationwide franchise last June, and got some locations going up within the North Carolina area, and just looking to continuously expand. And then I'm also opening a fitness gym, a group fitness gym, close by to this location in September, and it will be all instead of like hit training, it would just be more muscle building. I'm gonna have like the power racks and the dumbbells and all the things that the high intense classes and franchises don't have. I'm just gonna pretty much bring that to the market. It's pretty much gonna be like working out in college or working out in the pros. It's bringing that to
Nice.
the everyday world.
That's awesome, man. Well, keep up the good work and look forward to talking football with you next Monday here on the show, Andre.
Now sounds good. Looking forward to it.